Hello. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this particular part in OnShape. OnShape is a software package known as Computer Aided Design or CAD package. So it allows us to go ahead and make parts on a computer, design parts on the computer. Later, if we wanted to, we could take this file and save it in a certain format and go ahead and print it out on, let's say, a 3D printer. Um, just to show you a little bit around OnShape. And OnShape will work on any browser, on a Chromebook, Chrome PC, on a Mac, on a PC. Okay, so it'll work on any web browser as long as the computer is able to process it, and it's pretty good software. So um, just pointing out a couple things. Notice that there are three work planes. Three key work planes. This is a front work plane, this is a right work plane, and the top work plane. It's kind of hard to see what they're referring to, but it's easier if we actually look at this cube here. This front work plane here is parallel to the front, okay? This right work plane here is parallel to this right work plane here, and the top is parallel to the top there. So let's say if I wanted to see this from the top view, I could click on the top, and now I'm looking at the part from the top view. So this cube is really useful because it allows us to go ahead and rotate the particular part around, so I can go ahead and change the angle that I'm looking at it at. All right, so there's the front view. Okay, if I wanted to click on the right view, I click on right, and that would show me the right view. All right, okay, so that's just a little bit of showing you around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on the menu here, this document menu, the three lines right there. Sometimes there are three dots. Are the menu. I've heard it called the hamburger before because it kind of looks like a hamburger inside two buns. And then I'm going to close this document because I'm done with it. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a new one. All right. So now I'm going to click on this create. And then I'm going to create a document. I'm going to create a document. I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to call this class exercise CLEX1, class exercise 1. Now I'm going to click OK. All right, so it's opening up, okay? And you're going to see a blank slate, okay, where the part has not yet been created. All right, so you can see those same three work planes, front, top, and right. Again, they're all related to this here. I'm going to start my part with the front sketch, or a front view right here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on front, and I'm going to make a new sketch. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to go ahead and draw on that particular front sketch, all right? See, it's telling me the first sketch is called sketch 1, and it's being created on the front plane. Just so I can see it head on, I'm going to click on front. That way I can see it directly. This right here is the origin. Okay, that's the 0, 0, 0 coordinates. I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to click a rectangle, and I'm going to click this corner for the origin, and I'm going to click out here. Now I'm going to go ahead and set dimensions to it. Okay, the dimension tool is this one right here called dimension. You'll notice the shortcut for that is D. Okay, it'll create a dimension to constrain the sizes. Okay, so I'm going to click on the dimension tool, and I'm going to click on this left line and also the right line. And when I click on both of those lines, it allows me to set the dimension of those in between those. And I'm going to set this to be equal to 2 inches. 2 and hit enter. OnShape defaults 2 inches. And I'm going to click the top and bottom lines. I'm going to set that also to be 2. All right, so that way we've got a square. All right, now I've got a two-dimensional sketch, and I'm done with the sketch. So I'm going to click on check. Check means I'm done. The X would mean it would go ahead and cancel out without doing anything, but I want to go ahead and finish it, so I'm going to click on check. And now I want to make this into a two-dimensional object. All I made is a three-dimensional object. I made a square, okay, but I haven't actually made it into something. So the process of doing that is called extrusion, okay? So I'm going to click on extrude, but if you notice when I mouse over extrude, the shortcut for extruding is Shift-D. Basically, that will create, add to, subtract from, or intersect parts by extruding sketch regions. Right? So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to take this same face. Okay, I'm going to click on this face so that way it knows what we're going to do. And we're we're going to go ahead and we're going to also make it 2 inches. So our part's going to be 2 by 2 by 2. So I'm going to type 2, all right, and then I'm going to click on enter. Okay, so it makes it 2 inches deep. So then I click check, meaning I'm all done. So I just made a cube. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole inside this cube. So I'm going to right click on this this sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new sketch on top of it. And to make a hole, I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle, a center point circle. But first, I'll go ahead and click on front, so I'm looking at it head on. It's a lot easier to work with when you see it, when you're looking at it head on. So I'm going to click center point circle, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle. Notice sometimes OnShape will try to pin itself to the center point. Okay, it's kind of going to the center line, but I don't know if it's going to be totally center point, so we're still going to go ahead and dimension it. All right, so it's giving me what the diameter is. I want the diameter to be 1. So my hole, I want it to be 1. So I'm going to click on D for dimension. Okay, and then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to click to place where dimension is going to be, and I'm going to change that, set that to 1, and hit enter. Now I want to make sure that it is exactly 1 inch, so 1 inch from the left edge. So I'm going to click on the center of my circle, and I'm going to click the left edge. I could do an angular dimension, which it started to do, but I don't want angular. I want direct. So we're going to set that to 1. Okay, so that way we know it's definitely centered. And I also need to go ahead and dimension from that line in the Y direction. So we also set that to 1. So that already was 1, but we're going ahead and making sure that it is. All right. Basically here it's just telling us that we've already done it. Because we already set the dimension equal to 1, we don't really need to go ahead and do that. So I can close that. It's not really a big deal. I could delete it. It doesn't matter. So anytime we're making our circle here, we need to set the sides of the circle and also the location. The location meaning where is the center in the X direction, and also where is the center in the Y direction. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish with this sketch, okay, because I'm done with it. And now I want to go ahead and cut my hole. So to do that, we're going to extrude a hole. We're going to click on extrude, okay. Now when we're extruding, we have 3 choices. We can add material, we can remove material, or we can intersect between 2 things. Well, we're going to try and cut a hole. So cutting a hole is going to involve removing material. So we're going to click remove, okay. And now we need to choose the face. We need to choose the face or sketch region. And I'm going to click on the circle. So that way it's that chooses the face of the sketch. And now I click the circle. So that means it's going to go ahead and extrude that circle bit. And I want to go ahead and go all the way to the end of the part. So I'm going to click up to the part. And now we click OK. And let's see, how do we do? Oh, it didn't take. All right, so there's a problem there. So that extrude to didn't work out. So let me go ahead. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to right click and delete it. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and make it again. So I'm going to click on extrude. And I'm going to click on the circle because that's what I want to do. So I click the circle. Okay, I'm going to remove material. And what we're going to do now, actually, I'm going to go up to a face, and I'm going to go ahead and click the actual face on the other side. I want to have it stop on the end of this face on this side, so it should cut all the way through. And I'm going to click check. That worked better. See, so now if I click there, now I can see that the hole is going through the whole part. So I'm going to go ahead and do that each way. Seems like it's a little bit more effective when I make my part that way. So now I want to make another hole from this side that's also going to go through. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new sketch. All right, and on that, and I'm going to click on right, so that way I'm looking at it head on. I'm going to go ahead and make a circle again, center point circle. All right, remember I need 3 sets of dimensions. I need to go ahead and set the size of the circle. That's going to be 1. And I'm going to go ahead and specify how far it is from the bottom of the part. That's going to be 1. I'm going to specify how far it is from the left edge. So that way I've got Y direction, X direction, and I've also got the diameter. So that's also 1. So we know it's definitely centered. And then now I click check because I'm done. And now if you remember, how did we actually drill the hole? How did we cut the hole? Well, if you remember, what we did is we clicked on extrude. So we click on extrude, and then I'm going to click on the circle. That way we're going to extrude that circle. It's easier to see what's going on if I click on a corner, so I'm seeing an isometric view. So I click on the corner. Notice when we do a corner, we're seeing an isometric view. It's that same angle that you saw when you were drawing things on using isometric paper. Although it's a lot easier for a computer to do isometric views than it is for us to. You'll notice now it's going in the wrong direction. That's because I have it set to add material. I don't want to add, I want to cut through, so I want to remove material. And I want it to go ahead, and I'm going to click on this down arrow next to blind. I'm going to set it to up to face, and then I need to choose where I'm going to have it end, and I'm going to have it end at this face on the opposite side. Where is? Oh, there it is. To this side right there. All right. So it should go ahead and drill all the way through. Looks like it did it correctly. So now I'm going to click check. Looks like it's good. All right. And I can go ahead and spin on it. Go to left. Yep. I drilled my hole all the way through. Last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make one more on the top. So I'm going to right click. This is good practice. We're doing all this. I'm going to make another new sketch. I'm going to go ahead and click on center point circle. I'll draw a circle. Now notice it allows me to go ahead and draw a circle when I'm in isometric view. It's hard to work with, which is why I would always recommend looking at it head on. Okay, but you can draw at an angle if you want. And again, D for dimension. All right. Now we don't want to click from the edge of the circle to the left edge because that's not what we want. We want the edge from the center. So if I'm starting to do this, before I click on it, I'm going to hit escape. Okay. And that exits out of it. So now I'm going to click on the center point. I'm going to click on the left edge. Oh, it's not taking it, so I'll hit escape to get out of that. I don't know what I just did. I'm going to click on D for dimension and click on the center point and then the left edge. And I'm going to set it to 1. All right, so that way it's set it to 1.
I can tell you something.
All right, next, I'm going to go ahead and dimension from the center down to the bottom. And I'm going to set that also to be equal to 1. All right, and then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dimension the actual diameter of the circle. Okay, next, if you remember, in order to go ahead and cut my hole, because I got all 3 of those dimensions, I'm going to go ahead and finish with that, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude. It could be Shift E, or I could click on that, so I'm going to type Shift E just to show you the shortcut. All right, and now I'm going to click on the circle. Okay, now just to make sure that I can see if it's going the right way, I'm going to click on that little corner. Oops. It's adding material. I don't want to add material. I want to remove material. All right. And remember, instead of blind, we want to go ahead and we want to go up to the face. And we're going to go ahead and go to the face on the bottom. So I'll click the bottom face. There we go. Looks like it's good. We're going to click check. And now, looks like I'm done. So let me just double check. Click on the top. There's my hole going through. Okay, I'll click on the left. There's my hole going through. And I'll click on, let's see, there's the back. There's my hole going through. All right. And just to show you, this is originally where we started. The front view is kind of toward the back. All right. So that's how to make our part in OnShape. All right. Thanks for watching. You guys are going to go ahead and make the same part. So good luck with it.